You do us the honour of uncovering this future legend under this parachute. Bit of a reference to that ad we saw in our opening sequence. Well, there it is. Here it is. Look at this. New legend in the making. This red. It's fabulous, isn't it? You've worked beautifully. So can you tell us about the GTI label that we can see here? We're all very excited, it must be said. Well, that's right, GTI. Once again, it's not only the past, but it's also a reconstrual of the GTI badge that we have before us. The first electric GTI. Yes, it is electric. And we're very proud to have that technology onboarded on this car, which will offer the best compromise between sportiness and enthusiasm. Peugeot has always taken pleasure seriously, and the proof is in the pudding here. The car has been put together very seriously, very professionally. It's a sporty car, but it's not ostentatious, and that is what really is true to the GTI badge at Peugeot. That's right, we'll have a look at the design in just a moment with Matthias. But this elegant design, and modest, I think you would agree, a modest design, but there hides a 208 GTI with the best performance in its category, isn't that right? That's right, driving pleasure. As I say, it's a constant, both for the driver and for the passenger or passengers, with an interior experience which is incomparable. Matthias will tell you more in just a moment. The 208 GTI is pleasure and performance. We have a 350-kilometer battery range with a battery of 54 kilowatt hours. So I think we've got the best compromise between performance on one hand and pleasure on the other. And really, this results from a long-standing work, very businesslike, very professional work under Jean-Marc Finot's sure hand. We'll hear from him in a minute. Fabulous result. Yeah, you can be very proud. Thanks very much, Alan, for this overall view of the 208 GTI. You'll be back for the concluding remarks. Now we can look at the details of the car's performance. Let's welcome Head of Stellantis Motorsport, Jean-Marc Finot. Hello, Jean-Marc. So we want to know everything about its engine, its technical performance of this fabulous car. But first off, tell us, what was your contribution throughout this entire process? You love cars and you've got vast experience under your belt. Yes, Sandy, thank you. Hello to one and all. Yeah, for me, it's an emotional experience because when I was recruited a few years back, 4 or 5 years back. That's right. Well, I had to look at the chassis of the 205 GTI, and the dream began, and it's flowing into the car that we can see here and at this event. So the bridge, if you like, between racing cars and mass-produced cars, well, it's the same, because we got the same teams. So all the experience that we get in the races and we see in rally sport, well, they find their way into in this 208 GTI. So it's great. It's got 280 horsepower, torque of 345 Nm. So we're really top-notch performance-wise. We've got 5.7 kilos per horsepower. It's double the power-wise that the 205 GTI was doing. All right, so they're all very similar, aren't they? 205 and 208. Well, 208 is well. Just look at the. Look at what we've got here, 156 horsepower, E208, 0 to 60 in 8.1 seconds. And, it's just fabulous. The 208 goal, exceptional performance in its segment. And also we've got a series of modifications. That's right, things have changed. We wanted to get the track width widened, reproducing its previous iteration. So we wanted to make sure that came in. We optimized the track width, as I said. You can see that here on the profile, but this contributes to aerodynamics and stability. If you look at the fine-tuning during trials, we optimized performance and aerodynamics. So the 30 millimeters, for example, that we saw it on was very important. And everything to do with effectiveness, agility, stability, we'll find everything in there with the 205 GTI, but now with 208 GTI we've got additional improvements. More about the brakes. it accelerates well, but presumably you have to brake. That's right. And so we've got 355 millimeter disc brakes, front brakes, 4 piston calipers. It accelerates beautifully and it brakes beautifully. It's a real sporty model. Right, there's nothing artificial about the 208 GTI. No, absolutely nothing. This is a car which is fine-tuned, honed, and there's no compromise, if you like. The tuning that is done by the engineers, we can see them on the wheels. On the 205 GTI, we had big wheels, 15-inch in the day. Now it's 18-inch as a standard, and you can also see the headlamps. And the wheels, of course, were evocative of the 205 GTI, particularly with brake cooling. And the energy management is also reminds you of the racing models. So fabulous battery, long durability for having performance the longest time possible. So this thermal management is something that we see with the slip differential, for example, and energy management. It's basically the same teams that are working on the 3008 and the 205 GTI. Thanks very much for all that information, this technical information. You'll be staying with us for the interviews, and good luck for the weekend. All the best. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jean-Marc.
So we've just talked about performance, technical performance, the engine, everything it means, but we also want to talk about its design. We'll look on the interior and the exterior with Matthias Hossan. Matthias Hossan, head of design at Peugeot. I know that for a real enthusiast about cars, it's a source of inspiration. Yes, I grew up in the 80s. I was in the whole GTI culture, and that culture is fun and performance, but also sporting charisma that is truly authentic. That philosophy is expressed through ingredients that are both subtle and also highly effective ingredients. They've got a common denominator, a harmony between real sporting expressiveness, as we've seen with Jean-Marc, but also without excess, but with elegance and subtlety. And of course, well, the top-level performance, of course. Now, in terms of design, our role was to magnify those GTI codes, but with a modern reinterpretation. The idea was not to do a back-to-the-future thing. There's no backward-looking approach. We're trying to find the right alliance between heritage and innovation. I talked about sobriety, but also it meant assuming that without artifice or ostentation, with real expression of its sporting nature. And that means you can see in the posture, in fact, Jean-Marc talked about making it shorter by 30 millimeters and wider tires and wheels by 56 millimeters and 27 in the front and 56 in the back. And what we wanted to do is to sublime that posture through these 18-inch wheels, or rims, which, for those who know, are a nod to the Speedlight wheels in the 205 GTIs. So we can see a front that's really muscular. Yes, indeed. But that front view, once again, is both muscled, but also very determined, distinctive, but again, without arrogance, almost like a smile. And there is something that is hard to overlook, is red when we're talking GTI. And somewhere we thought that would actually be really important. We can see red coming around. It's a sort of a common thread around the bodywork in the front facades, where the wheels are, and underneath the spoiler as well. You'll find that red, again, with the GTI badge as well. And it's really light, and that we call neon red. Now, we've looked at this. Now, we really want us to have a look at the interior as well. There's lots of details there. Yes, indeed. When we're talking about the interior, it's hard. We can't talk about Peugeot without talking about a cockpit and that little steering wheel. And there's a little bit of pleasure in this. That's what it all means, in fact. What we wanted to do is to magnify these sporting codes. So you'll find this black perforated leather and Alcantara. And also with the seats, the feeling about that's something that's very important. And in these seats, you'll see that dual material of Alcantara and that rather specific mesh, in fact, you'll find in the 205s. Again, that red stripe that you'll find once again in these seats. Yes, again, it's a sports car, but it's extremely comfortable inside. I tried it. The carpet as well is red and is super flashy. We almost started off by designing the carpet. No, it was extremely important for me, as soon as you open the door, to find that red carpet. And once again, I'm thinking of these simple gestures that are very easy to memorize and remember. universe of the Peugeot GTI. That's the whole idea, the philosophy of a GTI that we wanted to illustrate in this new 208. So I want to summarize. It's an ultimate pleasure at every level. Indeed, that 208 GTI we've seen with Jean-Marc is the pleasure of driving that is intensive, it's fun and high performance, but it's also designed, done with tact and care. That's something we really wanted to do for this 208 GTI. It's, in fact, the very essence of our philosophy at Peugeot. Thank you, Matthias, inside and outside. Thank you, Matthias. And, of course, we want to get behind the wheel of this high-performance car. And talking about high performance, we've got a very special guest. We're very fortunate, we're very honored to welcome one of the 3 drivers of the GO208, number 93, for the Le Mans 24 hours. So, please welcome our driver.
Nice to meet you and welcome on this stage. J'ai cru comprendre que le blason jeté était très...
I understood that, in fact, it's very important for you.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it is. The 205 is the same age as me next year when it comes. But, you know, I grew up around the car industry. My father was a car dealer, so the 205 was very much part of that. When I was 7, 8 years old, it was iconic. And you just love what they were about. It's passion. It was nice to see them, nice to see the pictures of them coming back and what it means. And I think it's just an iconic bit of the brand. I think it must continue, it must go on. And I'm very excited what we see.
So what do you like about it? What do you like the most about it, this one?
Well, I think in this current bit of where the car is, you know, the 208 is such a special car. But when you see how the car actually looks itself, it brings the sportiness back to what it is. It brings elegance at the same time, and I think most important, it gives a bit of performance.
Absolutely.
If you need to happen, because ultimately that's what I'm about. I'm sure when people see the GTI brand as well, that's what they want, and I just love to see that. It's very special, and to see it in person, it looks even better than it does in pictures, which I think is key.
Would you like to have one in your garage at home?
Absolutely, but that's up to the bosses if they want to do it.
The boss? Well, let's call the boss. Alain, est-ce que tu veux revenir puisque tu as entendu?
Alain, you heard this? You heard that he wanted one in his own garage.
Is he going to have one soon? Which color?
Red.
Well, I think if we make the podium, I think red is the color of choice. So it's a big ask. So we have a bit of time to try and make it happen.
Right, I got the key here. So maybe we'll see you on Sunday.
Definitely. Have a great race weekend. Thank you so much. Mesdames et messieurs, Paul Di Resta.
Thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Di Resta. Merci. Alain, we've come to the end of the conclusion of this press conference that's been so long awaited. And as a summary, let's say there's a word. It's a promise that you've honored. Yes, indeed, it's a fine word, just like this car. We're very proud of it. It's a promise, a pleasure to drive that's modern, and it's absolutely outstanding. The promise of a unique driving sensation, the promise of a design with its own charisma that's very French, but at the same time very GTI. So we really are looking forward to seeing that tomorrow's future, tomorrow's history will be opening up for this GTI, and the 208 GTI is more GTI than ever before. You're absolutely right. We're eager to see it on the roads. Stay with us. Thank you all also for your attention. We're happy to answer any of your questions, and thank you for following us as well, for tuning in. Please, let's follow them, the team TotalEnergies, the best team for this week. Great day. Thank you for your attention.
Für mehr solcher Videos einfach abonnieren.